Hey everybody, this is Eric.
And I'm Daryl.
Welcome to episode 93 of the Automotive Podcast that's ready for some trunk or treat.
On this episode of Throwin Wrenches,
Newsom is vetoing speed limits.
robots versus longshoremen. It's not an action movie, it's real life.
And it's Rambler versus Panda. Who will win?
All that and more on this episode of Throwin Wrenches.
Oh no. Oh no. I don't think you hit the right thing.
Was it blue? It's a blue one.
There we go. Someday I'm going to bring out a real guitar, and I'm going to play along to this, and you're never going to know that it's me actually playing the song. What do you think?
Do you play guitar?
No, I don't.
Well, then definitely do that. I would love to see it.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm ready for some trunk or treat this year, Daryl, because this year I may bring a taser gun to Cars and Coffee.
Oh, why? Why do you need to feel the need for protection?
Last year, we did the trunk or treat at Cars and Coffee, and it's down at the at the Big Bass Bro Shop there on what's it, the second Friday night of the month or something like that?
Something like that. For the children.
For the children. We put the big dish of candy on the hood of the Supra.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not exaggerating. It lasted 5 minutes, and I turned around. I'm like, "Where's our bowl?" It was gone.
Somebody just housed the whole bowl.
Absolutely.
Dump it in a pillowcase and peace out.
Some little scumbag kid, ran off with our candy. I was so mad.
Oh,
so this year, lock and key, baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to be one of those people that like one piece. You can
I might,
dole
and it
out.
might just be Hubba Bubba, bubble gum or something. Those crappy bubble gum, like pink and blue wrapper things that like break teeth every time.
10 pounds for 9 cents.
Yes,
or something,
exactly. I'm all about the
terrible.
value. All about the value, baby.
That's. I'm sorry to hear that, but maybe the kids will be a little more upstanding this time.
You think?
No, probably not.
I don't know. Anyway, it is all about the kids. So it didn't bother me. It just thought, dumb on me.
Shame on fool me once, steal my candy once. Shame on me.
This will not happen again. This shall not stand. Everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks to join the fun of the show. You can always send us an email at info@thrownwrenches.com or post a review on iTunes to be heard around the world. I didn't check for reviews. I did kind of skirt the Spotify comments, but I screwed up. I didn't put a comment section on the last Spotify episode, so I apologize for that. I did add a poll because I wanted to know what people thought about the motorcycle option. So that just got put up here the other day. So if you do get on there, let us know. We'll share that on the next one. And I'll try to remember to put some snappy little question on this episode.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Look forward to that.
Is this your first time listening to the show? Because if it is, you may not know Daryl Scott. Do you know Daryl Scott? I know him pretty well. He's not Robin Williams. He doesn't have a dealership. And I'm not Tim Robbins trying to hold him up. But he is a real-life Cadillac man. That's a bad film reference for those. Please do not seek it out. His paint is clean. The Dagmars are glistening. Are we going to see the Caddy on the road this fall, Cadillac man?
Maybe.
Maybe.
We're close.
Little smugness in there. Uh-oh. He's relearning the buttons on the mixer.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great intro. It's not a bad film reference. You don't like Cadillac Man?
I thought it kind of sucked, but I did like Tim Robbins in the 80s.
Yeah, he's funny in it. Fran Drescher is amazing in it.
I like Fran Drescher.
Yeah. And Robin Williams.
She was always a sharp dresser.
Yes, she was. Yeah, that was a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
I just saw it last year.
Fantastic. It's almost like that. What was that Tin Men movie with Paul Newman and...
Oh, no, that's terrible.
Okay.
That
I put these in the same echelon of like bad salesman movies from the 80s and
Used
90s.
Cars with Kurt Russell. Yeah, there's a bunch.
Yeah.
There's a bunch that are kind of bad. All right. Well, thank you for that lovely intro. If you have just tuned in for the first time, well, if you heard my co-host's voice, he can read a compass and a map, and he's never more than 50 feet from a kayak or a cooler, and he routinely seeks the trail less traveled and the healthier trail mix, not the beef jerky. If Adventure had a first name, it would be Eric, and if it had a last name, it would be Stahl. He's Mr. Eric Stahl.
You make me sound, every episode you make me sound like, what was the, Elaine worked for the guy who had the Adventure clothing line.
Yeah.
Peterman.
Jay Peterman?
Yeah.
Make it sound like them.
I feel like Jay Peterman every time I'm out there with a fishing rod or I'm doing something. I'm like, I am totally faking my way through this right now.
It's fine. I do have to admire your cooler. And a quick shout out. Eric did stop by, was it last week or the week before? I don't remember. I was out working on the Cadillac one night, and you're like, hey, Regan and I are stopped by.
Oh, yeah.
Regan, of course, longtime friend of the show, Five-Timers Club, four-timers.
I think he got the jacket. Yeah.
He did. But they wanted to stop by and look at the lack of progress I had on the Cadillac. But they stopped by, and Eric's like, oh, I've got beverages right here in my cooler. And this is the second or third time that you've rolled up in Tree Hugger, the 4Runner, with what kind of cooler?
It's an Iceco fridge. It's a classic. It's like 4 or 5 years old. It's a hard metal side. The new ones are a lot of plastic and dual zone. This one is a true classic with the hard metal clasps and everything on it.
It just sits in the back of the cargo area of the 4Runner, almost like a permanent fixture.
It is, yeah.
And like at one Cars and Coffee or something, I think you gave us like an ice cold Pellegrino.
Yeah.
Like sparkling water. I felt like so highbrow. I was like walking around looking at everybody's like, rat rods and like Jeeps and stuff, and I'm drinking a San Pellegrino.
Ice cold. And when he says ice cold, I think I had it down to like 25 that day.
It was 29, and it was frost. It was actually like a slushy. It was very, very good. But this time you had some beers in there, and I appreciate that. Definitely makes me want to get one of those for road trips.
It's totally worth it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the price has come down on them, and the quality is so good on these new ones.
Are they hardwired, or are they just plug into like
I did a permanent always on in the back of my trucks in case I was on a road trip, and every time you stop, you wouldn't have to worry about it losing power or overnight. But we can get into more of that in the project section if you like.
Okay.
I'm going to be talking about the core road trip, so
beautiful.
We'll bring that up.
Beautiful.
Let's talk about our sponsor.
Of course.
Do you know Fort's Toyota Pekin? I know Fort's Toyota Pekin. Listen, Fort's Toyota Pekin's got a tire sale going on right now in October, and you know what? You may be listening to the show nationally, so just know this. Toyota has a national tire sale in October. Buy 3, get one for $1. If you go by Fort's Toyota at www.toyota-pekin.com, you'll find the inventory of all the tires online, so you can check those out. You say, Eric, you sure know a lot about tires in Fort's Toyota. Well, that's because I work there. So let's get down to brass tacks. It is a good deal. It is our best deal of the year. We do the sale twice a year, but right before winter, I can't tell you a better time to buy tires with the Toyota Tire Center. You get 2 years road hazard all across the country, and I think it includes Canada and Mexico too. And you get free rotations for life at Fort's.
Awesome.
Also, we got a bunch of cool cars. I've got 2 Land Cruisers. I've been doing a lot of walk-arounds of the 1958 Land Cruiser. I want a 1958 Land Cruiser as like a demo someday, but I want us to sell these 2 we got right now. We sold a couple Land Cruisers, but I want somebody to buy a 58, and then they can lift it, and then I'll lift one, and then we'll be like Land Cruiser brothers, and we'll do like cool Land Cruiser things like, are we best friends? Yeah, we're totally best friends.
Yeah,
hasn't happened yet, though.
What's the color of the one you got on the lot right now?
One's black, but I'm sure they have a cool name for the black. It's probably like,
Onyx Mica or something.
It's probably like Eclipse or something like that, And then the gray is probably, like Onyx Mica. Yeah, I get that.
It's good color.
Yeah.
It's good color.
Yeah. You can find the inventory online at www.toyota-pekin.com. Thanks again to Mike Fort and the Fort family for continuing to support Throwing Wrenches podcast.
And it wouldn't be a show without the Patreon supporters. You know who you are. We always welcome new members into the fold. What do you get with a Patreon membership? Well, we can tell you. First and foremost, you get occasional swag, including some stickers.
Lacking swag, but you get a wicked cool pre-show, Daryl.
Oh, yeah. But people want stickers. They want tattoos. They want all the things.
Did you say tattoos?
Yes, I did. I heard there was a rumor.
The plane. Oh, no.
The different tattoo.
Oh, yeah, we got those too.
Do you have to lick them and stick them? Is it one of those?
I think you just, maybe a nice little damp rag.
Sponge bath? A bubbly sponge bath.
I don't think saliva's involved. That's what you're saying.
No, I want to make sure for our Patreon members, they know what they're getting into.
Patreon members, you're getting tattoos. And I tell you what, we may have a contest for best tattoo picture. Daryl's excited.
Send them to Eric Stahl at Planet Stahl. No. Anyways, that's fine. Patreon members, seriously, though, you do get a really cool, basically an hour of who knows what, a dealer's choice, if you will.
A potpourri, per se.
Potpourri of pre-show audio material. Some of it's auto-related, some of it is not at all. Like we just spent a good amount of time running through James Earl Jones's film history.
Or we talked about how you hate the Grand Tour and you're not a fan of Jeremy Clarkson.
Hate's a strong word.
But it's true.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on. Thanks again for listening and for all of your support.
If you want to know more about his hate for Jeremy Clarkson, just tune into the pre-show. You can also get onto iTunes Premium, and you can download episodes individually if you just want to check one out. Certainly fun to do, and they fall right into your podcast feed if you're using Apple. So check that out.
All right.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing. And thanks for reviewing if you get a chance. It's time for the first section of the show, Daryl.
Oh, goody.
Yay. It's time for projects.
That's very high rent.
Thank you. Someday.
What are you working on, brother?
Yeah.
It's getting cold. Days are short, but you're still at it.
Yeah, so I think since the last, dude, what's it been, like 3 or 4 weeks?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I think
Early
in the meantime, I went up to the Upper Peninsula with the trail team.
The Yoopers.
And I've been to the UP before. The Upper Peninsula is a span of land. It's part of Michigan, but it's north of Wisconsin. And it runs along Lake Superior. How that ever broke up, how Wisconsin ever got screwed in the whole deal is beyond me.
Yeah, I want to actually go back in history books and figure out how none of that makes sense.
Yeah, it was all Michigan territory actually before, and then somehow they made Wisconsin. But somebody in Michigan goes, you know what? You can have Wisconsin. We're going to keep that little section up there by Lake Superior.
We're going to put a hat on it.
Exactly.
So where in the UP did you go?
So we went to the Keweenaw Peninsula,
okay,
which is between the Apostle Islands and Picture Rocks. It's just it's like a finger that sticks out into Lake Superior. Went to a town called Copper Harbor. When I was down in Missouri this past year in the spring, I ran to Cindy Pope. She runs the Northology Adventure Group magazine. She's also a sponsor of the More Off-Road event. And I had seen Cindy. God, I've known her for so long. I've run into her a couple times over the years at events, and I dig her vibe. She's such a nice person. And so we hung out at the campsite with Cindy and sat around the campfire like the whole time Angela and I did. Took the Forts Tacoma down to, so it wasn't Columbia. Where's Southeast Missouri State University?
Cape Girardeau. No,
that's Southwest. No, that's Southeast. No,
Southeast?
Where's Southwest? Towards Branson, Springfield.
Oh, okay.
So we were by Springfield, Missouri. Anyway,
okay.
So we're way out there. It's a long drive here from Central Illinois. Heck, I think it was probably closer drive to the UP than drive all the way that southwest corner.
So
anyway,
this is that More Expo?
More Expo, yeah.
Okay.
So More Expo, Cindy's like, you got to come to Core this year. And Core is the Keweenaw Overland Adventure Retreat. I've known about it for years. I've flirted with it for years. And I'm like, you know what? This is the year. And this is the year I overcommitted to everything. When people are like, where are you going now? Where are you going now? I'm like, you know what? At the last couple of years, if you know everything going on in my family, you know that it was time to probably overcommit to a lot of stuff, keep us busy. So I got Jake. I got a new couple, Troy and Brandy, and we got our old friend Matt and his kids to all commit to this event up in Core. And we spent 4 days, 3 nights camping at Copper Harbor, which is, dude, it's this town at the very tip
of the peninsula.
Of the peninsula, yeah. And they tell you when you go there, there's no cell signal. You're like, oh, yeah, whatever, there's cell signal.
There's nothing there.
There's no cell signal. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't even seem possible in this day and age. So the coolest thing to me, when you go to a place like that, first off, we went there basically as an exploration event. Like, we're going to go up here, we're going to check it out. We know nothing about this area of the country. Never spent any time up there. I've been to Apostle Islands, but it was a hit and run. Did some kayaking, went to the national park, blah, blah, blah. We got out of there. I've never camped for 3 straight days up in this neck of the woods. A lot of times in the central Illinois, and anybody who knows, like, resort towns, you grew up in the 70s or 80s, where there was like a lake and, people would like hang out during season. So you'd have maybe like a couple shacks where you could rent some canoes, and maybe there was an ice cream stand and a hamburger place. But what would happen in those places, they were good in the summer, and by the time fall came around, they put boards up on all the windows, and the place shut down.
Yeah, yeah.
Those places don't exist anymore. Lake Bloomington was like that when I was a kid, but now when you go to Lake Bloomington, everybody's like, yeah, I remember my youth there. Now I'm going to build a $1 million house there.
Right.
They've screwed them all up. So you get up to the Keweenaw Peninsula, and you're at Lake Superior. Lake Superior is a brutal, brutal place.
It is.
The window of opportunity for recreating up there is probably 3 or 4 months out of the year. And what I've heard is there's probably 2 months where the bugs just carry you away. So you might really get 2 months.
May, June's probably brutal, and still cold.
July. I've heard July is even terrible.
Is it?
Yeah. We were there in September, and we got really lucky. It was like a record heat wave. I had my tent doors open. There were no bugs. It was insane. But
you seriously were all the way up there, and Copper Harbor, like you said, is the tip of that.
Yeah.
You're really not that far from
Canada.
From Canada. Now
I guess, yeah.
I'm looking at Google Maps here, and I'm like, yeah, I roughly know where that's at. I know where Escanaba and some of the other towns up there are, but that's far up there.
But dude, getting back to the point, the ancient lake town feel was there.
Yeah.
It was the kitschy rock shops. It was the guy doing boat tours, or it was just, and everything was a little rough around the edges. The wood paneling, it had a little rot around the edges. There was nothing like new and fresh. It was like, this place is open for a couple months. Get in here, enjoy yourself, and get the hell out.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, tough luck. We don't care. We went to this. We went to the Houghton.
Houghton. Yeah, they pronounce it Houghton, I believe.
Yeah, I went to Houghton, and it's a nice town. It's all Swedish original. All start off with Swedish immigrants for the silver. No, copper or silver. Copper mining.
Copper, taconite, all kinds of any kind of ore to make anything metal.
Yeah. So I mean, what it boiled down to is these people were mining their brains out in the 1840s, and then all of a sudden they went to like Colorado, and like one strike in Colorado like supplanted everything they were generating up there. They were working their asses off just to get these little mines going. But once more ore was found out in the mountains, it became more convenient to get out of the mountains in the West Coast. The Keweenaw Peninsula died. It was crazy. You look at the buildup they had, and then it just eclipsed. It was eclipsed by the West Coast. So it's been a depressed area. It's now a national historic corridor for its ore mining and stuff like that. Because I think that this is one of those situations where the federal government comes in, and whether it's like building a prison in an impoverished area or making a national park in an impoverished area, you throw a little bit of money, you're like, make this a little destination. So they made it a little nice in downtown in Houghton, and in these areas a little bit further north. It's a little bit of resort. There's a lot of ATV traffic on these fire trails, and it's just becoming this like a little niche destination. It was just far enough out that not every butthead and their brother, shows up out there with a Jeep or something like that.
Sure. Or
a Toyota. But I think it was just a perfect mix. It's just a long drive. That's what it boils down to.
Well, I think it's also the furthest north that U.S. Highway 41.
Yeah, dude, and I've been to both ends of 41. That was so fun, too.
Yep. Goes all the way down to what, is it Key West?
No, it goes
Miami.
So it's Miami. Almost, I think it's not Coral Gables. It might be Coral Gables.
Somewhere near
where it
there,
exits. Yeah, it literally stops right in South Miami.
Yeah, and then it goes all the way up to literally to Copper Harbor. So you follow that all the way through. That's kind of fun. If anybody's a big, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on
interstate nerd?
Nerd, or I'm thinking the rock and roll band. That's
I took a picture when we got to the start of the 50 or 41. And I thought, man, I wish I was a kid. I would got to start, their end picture, and I might have a film picture of it somewhere, but I doubt it.
Somewhere on a Kodachrome. No, you're not that old.
So it was totally fun, and we had a good time camping.
Did you do any trails?
When you went there? Yeah. We hit a couple trails, went out to a couple spots. The trails. So the thing is, we're traveling with kids, traveling with wives, traveling with Troy and Brandy. Don't really know them that well, so you're just trying to. Angela, she's looking at me. She's like, "Why are you stressed out? Well, don't worry about it. They're going to be fine." I'm like, I'm working. You may not realize this. It may feel like it's just a fun time trip. I'm literally I want to make sure, just like anybody who's leading any kind of an expedition, that everybody's fine. I want to make sure they all had a good time. I want to make sure that, that nobody's like, I'm never doing that again, those sons of bitches, or something like that. So I'm just constantly wanting to make sure. So Matt was on an pontoon airplane trip they were supposed to do, and the plane broke down. And so I spent like a little bit of time off to the side working on that, making sure he was set up and everything. And, she just got like sideways on me. And I'm like, this is work. You may think that this is just screw off time. Let's go out and have some fun. But to me,
you're still kind of on the clock.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah. Many times we've been on these trips on the trail team stuff. And, People are like, oh, it must be nice to do this and that. I'm like, yeah, what you don't know is that somebody's timing belt broke at 9,000 feet. I had to run down to Montrose, which, by the way, that's about a 90-minute drive. I had to get a tool from a technician, and I had to bring that back up to the top of the trail with a new timing belt. And,
Yeah.
This isn't just fun and games. I mean,
Right.
Yeah, I guess I could have told the guy, hey, too bad, so sad. I hope you can call Rick's
Get a flatbed.
Rick's Towing, and he can charge you $1,000 to drag you down from 9,000 feet. That's not what we do. So
No. That's so you guys had good weather when you were up there?
everything was perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't super aggressive on the trucks. We hit some trails. Hit this town called Gay, Michigan, which its whole thing is, they play off that name. But talk about economically depressed. I mean, it was a sad little town. All the millings and all the industrial waste from the mines, they made like a giant beach on this stuff. It's black sand.
Like slag piles or something?
It's just black sand.
Yeah.
Just little bits, and it's just residue from the copper mining process, for 100 years.
Huh.
That was the wildest thing for me. I'm like, is this safe? Should we even be out here?
Maybe not.
We're a 3 Mile Island. I don't know.
Did you do any fishing? I know you had a fishing expedition
No,
earlier
I
this
think
summer.
I think Matt did. We did do some. So we did some searching for Uperlite. You ever heard of Uperlite?
No, what's Uperlite?
So it's this rock. It seems like it's a bit of a scam. If you go to the gift shops, they sell these rocks that if you shine a black light on them, they kind of glow. They call them Uperlite, and supposedly you find them on Lake Superior.
Huh.
I think you can find them anywhere in the country. It's a certain type of calcium or crystallization that happens between the rock formations, but if you shine a black light, they glow.
It'll glow. What's that, uranium glass or whatever?
Right,
That's scary
right.
stuff.
Very similar. So one night we were on the beach after dark, and we were out there with our black lights. Brandy was a rock nerd. We called her rock nerd a couple times out there. It was funny. But we were looking for the Uperlites, and it was so funny. It was like 10 of us out there scouring the rocks on the shore, and Jake's wife, Amber, sat down and she just started kind of digging around. She found 2 little ones. It was the craziest thing, man.
Just laying on the beach?
Yeah, just laying on the beach. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That was the only fishing, essentially, I did as far as looking for things. Really, and Jake would agree, it was kind of an expedition just to kind of figure out the territory. Mm-hmm. Would I do the core event again? I'm not sure. So core is an organized event with vendors. You can go check out these overland people, trailers, gear, dog stuff, cooking equipment. You name it. There's a vendor for all these different things. But
okay. Been there, done that?
No, I think the problem is I'm running a group of 4 trucks, and so we're going to run our own group. We're not going to be beholden to somebody else. We're going to do a tour. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I've already got my own group. So it's kind of tough. So then we're paying admission for the campground for 4 days. I think everybody was there paid like $200
Okay.
to be part of this event.
Yeah.
You got a T-shirt, you got some tickets, you got free beer. And you got the campsites for 4 days. So
yeah, it's not bad.
I don't think it was a terrible deal.
No.
Would we go up there again during that time? It's a tough call, but it is nice to know when you're up there with like-minded people. Mm-hmm. If you just showed up by yourself without the core going on, you might find yourself in a bit of a situation. Like say you needed to be recovered. Say somebody had a problem on a trail and they needed some assistance.
Yeah.
You might be left to the locals, calling on your CB.
It's not the
Anybody
same.
got your ears on? I got a lug nut fell off. So
Yeah. What was the trail situation? How many?
It's mostly so fire roads can vary. Up there, it's very rocky and there's more elevation. You can't believe the elevation in that place. There was like not many mountains, but just big rock faces, ridges. You get some pretty decent elevation. So we were driving around out in kind of some muddy trails and stuff like that. And there's, I think there's obstacles to be found. Again, wives, kids. Wheeling is always fun for the person holding on to the steering wheel.
Yeah.
The person in the passenger seat or the back seat having to hang on for their lives, not so much fun. No. So it didn't bother me that it wasn't really a wheeling trip, but it was nice to get out and see some different terrain, just saw some beautiful sights. Lake Superior in the morning, in the evening, at sunset. Yeah. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah. There's something about the Great Lakes, but of course, even Great Lakes, like probably the most you spend time with is Lake Michigan, being around Chicago or Kenosha or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's pretty. It's different.
Yeah.
I imagine Superior is a completely different animal.
You know, and I've been to Superior a couple times in my life, and I've seen it crazy, like white caps, and I've also seen it crystal clear and crystal just flat. It was pretty flat the whole time we were there.
Yeah,
it was nuts.
And that's the one that they Edmund Fitzgerald went down in, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was at the tip of where that and Michigan meet up there at the top or something. Or
I thought it was
up by
Wisconsin. It might have been. I don't remember. I just remember, like, of course, the Gordon Lightfoot song where they talk about.
Yes,
and I've read too, like that in October, November. It really does get a little iffy, even for like season. And it's all the big tankers, the big ore.
Yeah.
What do you call them? Like iron, like ore haulers or whatever.
Yeah.
So I imagine like it's probably when you went was probably perfect.
We got very lucky as
But
far as weather goes.
If you were gonna live there year round, you'd be like,
dude, I'm gonna tell you, it's
batten down
like
the hatches.
Murphy's Law, and Jake will know this. Sunday morning, we're planning on all leaving early. The forecast is perfect, and we're like, I told Angela, like, well, we get out of here by 8 a.m. I'll be happy. I'll be damned if it wasn't 3 a.m. and it just didn't start raining buckets.
Really?
Just dumping. I'm like, where did this come from? And we have no internet.
Yeah, so you can't do like the
I can't
radar.
pull anything up. And had I been smart, I probably would look up the weather station so I could pull up my ham radio and listen to whatever the weather report was.
Yeah.
It was dumping. And I had my new Oz tent, which, yes, anybody who's in the know who listens to this podcast, I know a couple of you guys will know that Oz tent. I paid a premium for it. But I'm going to tell you this. Ange and I were in I had my front doors open on my tent, but I got this giant awning on it, and it rained cats and dogs, and I was fine. I mean, I was awakened by the amount of rain that came down.
But you were dry as a bone?
Oh, yeah. Just amazing. But
good.
It's something about Murphy's Law always says, if you think you're going to pack up a dry tent at the end of any camp out, think again.
Yeah, it never happens.
It never happens, absolutely.
That's a bummer, but at least it was that and not like 3 days of it.
Yes,
you know?
Yes, no, it was. Oh, and that's the thing. I said that too. What if it would have been 3 days of rain? Ugh, that's the worst.
Yeah, you would not have been happy.
No, and I mean, it is what it is. I actually took a lot of clothes because I didn't believe the weather reports. I took jeans, I took jackets. I was in T-shirts and shorts one day. I was just like, it's so hot. It was like 80 degrees. It was crazy. So it was good. It was great. If you want information on that, check out Northology. Cindy Pope, if you Google her or you check her out on Spotify, put that name in, you'll find some interviews she's done with All Things Overlanding and some other podcasts. Interesting character. I like her a lot, and I like her vibe that she's got going up there. So if you want to join us next year for that, I do want to go to it again. Whether or not I do it during core, we'll see, because next year, I told Jake, I may go to the Lake Superior Performance Rally, which always, every year, is the same weekend as Southern Cruiser Crawl. So there's a chance. I may not go to Southern Cruiser Crawl next year. I may go to the Lake Superior Performance Rally, which I think would be amazing to watch all these high-powered rally cars racing in the backwood gravel roads of the UP.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Get some good video footage.
You
too.
might even want to go to that.
That might be fun.
Yeah, there you go. So anyway, so that's what's going on. Also, what else we got going on? The Celica, the roof pops every time my wife opens up the roof. That's the new one, the black one, the 96 we bought used a couple of years ago. But she did drive it. She's been driving it. It's still love that car with the new tires. And
what do you mean by roof pops?
It just, so when it gets to a certain spot, and this would be a great situation where two guys that are not a husband and a wife could, like, hey, Daryl, go over there and see if you feel anything, like making a hang up,
a weird
over there.
noise or something.
Yeah. I can't do it with Angela, because we'll just yell at each other.
Okay.
But it might be something I could sort out myself. I'll just gotta take it to the dealership, and we're gonna see if we can figure out what's making something sticking.
Okay.
It scares me because every time it makes that noise, when you have a glass back window in a convertible and you hear a like that, it freaks you out.
A little bit.
Yeah, so I need to get that fixed. And this year, I'm not going to do that thing that I've traditionally done, Daryl, in the winter.
Which is?
You take the problem car and you put it in the garage for the winter.
And you say, I'll deal with that in the spring.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that this year.
You know what? That's a hallmark of maturity. I'm proud of you, Eric. I'm proud of you.
No, I think I just like that car that much that I feel like it's worth spending a few bucks on it in the fall.
It is a nice car. And then when you take it out in the spring, or Angela wants to start driving it, you just roll it out, take the cover off, and You turn the key and drive it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so you're not having to mess with all these little weird things. I will say, if it does end up being the back window, are they glued in that one as well?
It's not. I truly believe the window's not making a noise. It's something on the passenger side, because it's definitely on the passenger side back. Something in either the cable, the way it's snapping in there, or something is not quite tight.
Okay. Yeah, well, if you don't get it sorted, let me know. If you need a second set of eyes,
yes,
let me know.
I need some veteran eyes.
Sure, right.
Yeah,
That's
his code name, his CB name.
Right.
Yeah, his ham radio name.
It should be like what is it? The little headlight you put on your forehead. Like that's my new thing now, because I can't see anything, so I have to have like the little LED light on my forehead, plus the little trouble light in my hand, and a little pen light. I can't see anything.
Oh, no.
It's terrible.
Well, I had to put my phone light on to read the Hulk Hogan beer earlier, so.
Yeah, happens to the best of us. At least you aren't wearing bifocals yet.
Hell yeah, brother. What do you got going on, bud?
Oh, not much. No, glad you were able to get away and enjoy some stuff.
Thank you. I need more time away. I've decided I'm going to take another vacation. I'll tell you about that next month.
You should. You should. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear about it. Whenever I get a little time off, as I did here the last 2 weeks, I decide to just sit around the house and work on junk in the garage, which is
sit around the house. That's not really.
Well, I mean, there was a little bit of sitting, mostly standing in the garage, which I hadn't done a whole lot of for a while. So I did decide to roll out probably the most neglected car, second most neglected car in our fleet, which is our 1955 Cadillac Fleetwood 60 Special.
Well, that begs the question, what is the most neglected?
Our 76 Chevrolet C20 Custom Deluxe.
I've never seen that truck, I don't believe.
No, I've
only known you for 5 years.
Yeah,
well, we've known each other longer.
Yeah, 6, 7, whatever. I tucked it away in 2018. So yeah, you have not seen it. It's been in storage for many, many years, as my wife reminds me. So we'll get to that at some point once I get this thing running.
What do you think those payments have added up to? You think about the storage payments.
Too much.
All right, Sarah, have you done the math?
Way too much. It started out as storing the truck, but the storage unit is now jam packed with so much other stuff that I'm like, even if we didn't have the truck in there, we'd still need a storage unit.
Oh, okay, all right. So it's dual-purpose storage unit. All right.
Yeah, it's like grandparents' furniture, mom stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
So
definitely a lot of her stuff.
It's mostly Sarah's fault. But anyways, I decided I had a couple weeks off. Yeah, I said, you know what? I bet I could get the Cadillac running in 2 weeks. So first week, I just decided to order parts, and then piddly work on some stuff like taking the old fuel tank out.
Yeah.
Fuel tank. The car was parked, we think, sometime in 88, 89.
What year is the Caddy again?
55.
55.
So
what color is that called?
It is actually, oh my gosh, you put me alabaster gray, which is really more of like a...
It looks like a white cream.
Yeah. It looks like cream. Yeah. I don't know where the gray comes from.
Yeah.
But
it's a beautiful car.
Well, thanks.
Hidden under a rough top coat.
Yeah, it's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of like the nerdy kid with glasses. You take it off, you give him a haircut, you give him a nice suit, and you're like, hey, boy, you clean up pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, thanks, mister. Now go ask a girl to the dance. And so that's really what my goal with this one was to actually, it was so rough when we got the thing. It had been neglected. It had been kind of in a hoarder home situation in a garage with junk packed on top of it. And I'm talking literal junk. The paint and everything was so bad. The interior was worse. We spent the first year getting the interior back up to snuff and clean and presentable. And then I just parked it and pushed it back in the garage and really didn't do much to it. I did have the accessories rebuilt. I had the water pump redone, the brake booster redone, generator redone, all these other little things. And I thought, on a nice summer day, a couple days.
Do they call them generators or do they just call them alternators?
Generator. So it's actually, they're two different,
please illuminate me on this, please.
Oh, I don't know the exact difference, but one of them just generates electricity. The other one, it's like there's like a diode trio, and there's all it's electric theory and stuff I don't really get.
Okay, all right. Well, next episode, I expect a little more information.
Okay, I'll do a deep dive. But no, this thing actually everything, the motor was free. I actually soaked the cylinders and stuff back in 2022 when we got the car, and I was able to get the thing to free up just fine. And of course, everyone's like, "Oh, just put 12 volts to it and throw some fuel down the carb and then let it go."
Yeah,
no, we weren't ready for that yet.
You had some information as far as when the last time it started, right?
The last oil change and stuff I got details for. It's like 1988.
Okay.
The battery was an old Interstate battery with a 1988 date stamp on it and stuff. So I think that's roughly the last time it ran. So basically just pickled the motor.
88. I graduated high school in 89. So 36 years ago?
36. It sat that long.
Ouch.
And so first things first, I'm like, I could just dribble fuel down the car, but I'm like, I'm eventually going to drive this thing. I'm eventually going to. It needs a fuel tank. It needs lines. It needs all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And the tank looked solid. We actually dropped it. Good friend of the show and friend in real life, Gabe Casey, dropped by and helped wrestle the old gas tank out of the thing. And actually, it looked decent. It smelled horrible, by the way.
I think it was a picture Sarah took. It's just like Gabe's legs hanging out from underneath.
Yeah. Dude, anybody who's worked on anything old that has had like that old varnished gas that's been sitting like old tractors, old lawnmowers and stuff like that, there's nothing worse than that smell. And
it's bad.
Yeah, it doesn't go away. And we were working in the garage, and it was like one of those days where it was still hot. It was like 90.
Yeah.
And I had the windows open, fan going, and some of that spilled out in the garage floor. And I'll be honest, I was like dry heaving for a little bit, and I also like you start getting like starry eyed because the fumes are so bad they're gonna knock you out. Got that out, got the gas drained, and disposed of responsibly. By the way, Len's Oil Service in Peoria off of Washington will actually dispose of old gas, old antifreeze.
So will Forts.
So will Forts. Yeah. Good people. Definitely appreciate being able to recycle some of that stuff. Ordered a new tank, had a new tank sending unit lines, all that stuff put in. We bent up custom lines. Gabe helped me with that. So everything from stem to stern is brand new. So brand new fuel in the tank, new fuel filter, carbs all cleaned out, new fuel pump. I got all that going. Spent some more time degreasing and kind of cleaning some junk out of the engine bay, which was really still kind of rough. I cleaned out the outside, but the inside still had old mouse debris. And, I mean, I pulled the air cleaner off. There's a dead mouse in it. Oh. Yeah. Dude, it was everywhere. And it was so gross that I kept putting it off, but I finally got it out and got a new battery for it, cleaned up the ground straps, hooked all that stuff up. And the first time I put power to it, the car's, all the lights work, dome lights, dash lights, the signals work, the starter engaged, and all 4 power windows and the power seat worked.
Tell me, it would be more awesome that like some classic 50s music came over the radio real quick too.
No, I turned the radio on for like 2 seconds. I heard whoa, whoa, whoa. I heard like an AM radio, like an announcer start talking, and then it died. So whatever happened in the radio, it's probably shorted out.
Okay.
So
you had a few minutes of radio.
Yeah, I'm like, my friend Greg, our good friend Greg and Cindy, his wife were over, and he was there to see all. He's like, wow, cool. He's like, I heard something. It was like 2 seconds, and it died. But there's nothing better than like seeing like some little glimmer of life. Yeah. And of course I, oiled down the cylinders again, and I just hit the starter real quick just to see if it would turn, and it engaged just like that. So
nice.
I'm like, okay, cool, we're close. Got everything, got 4 gallons of fuel put in the car, and hooked all the stuff up back again, and put the key to it, tried to build some pressure, nothing. And at this point, it was like Saturday night, super late. I'm like, we'll come back to us another day. Got some starting fluid, put it down the carbs, hit it, nothing. Hit it, nothing. Pull the spark tester, put that in line. I'm not getting spark. And at this point, it was like late in the day, Sunday. I'd already done some other stuff, and I'm like, rather than rush it and break something or like hastily rewire something, I'm like, no, I'm going to push this back in. I'm going to methodically go through with this continuity tester, the multimeter, test light, and we'll just see. We got power to the coil, we got power to the ignition, we got all that kind of stuff, and I'll do it the right way. But for right now, I decided to before I pushed it in the garage. It was late Sunday afternoon. It was probably like 5 o'clock, so I had like an hour and a half of daylight. And I washed the car down again, and I actually hit the paint with some Meguiar's compound, and brought some of the shine back on the original paint. And that is the kind of the emotional satisfaction that I needed.
Yeah, and it was like, what was it, Meguiar's L3000 or so? What the heck was
105. It's like their ultra cut compound. So it's kind of like, I hit it pretty hard with the buffer. The paint was really, really dull, kind of weak in some areas. I had done a chemical decontamination with almost like a wheel cleaner, kind of like an acid to pull some of the junk out.
Yeah.
And I clay barred it before I hit it. So I was just working the raw paint with none of the contaminants as much as I could off the paint.
And to be fair, if you're a pre-show listener, you'll know that we kind of talked about some of this earlier.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to dig deep into it. But,
no, it's fine. I could geek out for hours, but yeah.
I mean, the paint on this thing was so rough.
Yeah.
You got that Plymouth a couple of years ago, and I thought that thing was rough.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that was probably on par with the Cadillac, except the Cadillac has some scars on it, some battle scars.
Definitely.
You can't just buff out.
No, I did. Here's a little tip too for anybody who's got something old that you like a little patina on, or you want to kind of keep that preserve the battle scars, if you will.
Yeah.
And you're going to be doing some other work on the paint. SOS.
Really?
Yes. And it sounds counterintuitive. It sounds like, oh, I'm going to damage it. No. Get you some rubber gloves, like you're doing dishes, like back in the day. Get some SOS
like
bags.
Xera do?
Of course, yeah, that's right. And actually, nice, put down a nice layer of like you can either use a foam can or you can just do like soap. Or I'm sorry, just wet the surface and just hit it with a little SOS. It'll knock all the loose, kind of rusty, crusty, weird, flaky stuff off. Mm-hmm. Now, it might do a little damage, but if you're careful with it, you can do a little blending with the good paint around it. Mm-hmm. Hit that off. It'll usually kill most of the rust that's on there. Then hit it with your compound on a buffer. Usually hit the rough parts last. Do the rest of the parts. So if you grab a piece of rust or a piece of old paint or bodywork that comes off, you're not grinding it into the good parts of the car. Leave that for the bad, the very last part of your buff, and then hit it with that and just kind of see what happens and blend it as much as you can, and then hit it with wax. And you'll actually be able to seal and kind of bury whatever rust that's happening, and you get that cool patina look without having it deteriorate further.
But if I take an angle grinder with those canvas pads, I can strip the paint in areas and get down to bare metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really cool that way, too.
Yeah, it'll look cool for a couple weeks, and then it'll just rust. But, there's all kinds of tips and tricks. And the fun part is like, in your mind, you're like, oh, I'm going to watch all these YouTube videos, and I'm going to do this. Who cares? If the thing's roached, you're not going to make it worse than it was. So get out and try, practice. Like, that's what I always do. I go to Harbor Freight, I buy the cheap 7-inch pads for my buffer. I've just got a cheap rotary buffer that I bought on Amazon. It's like a tip or TP or whatever it's called. And I work the hell out of it. And I've learned so much. I learned a lot years ago. I learned a lot working on the Volvo. I learned a lot buffing the finish on the Fury. And I like taking something where it's like 90% of people will look at it and be like, oh, that needs a paint job. And then you do a little work to it, and then that number goes down to 50%. 50% will be like, oh, cool, it's an old Plymouth. And they keep on walking. 50% is like, yeah, it's an old Plymouth. It needs a paint job still because it's not perfect and shiny in every panel. But if you bring a little shine back, and from 50 feet away at night when the lights hit it, you're like, okay, that looks pretty good. And my buddy Greg always says, you want to take something that looks pretty neglected and rough and make it look proud. Make it look like you could actually say, yeah, that's my car. Yeah,
and that old Supra that I sold that kid, I follow him every once in a while on Instagram or Facebook. He has that car stamped tall. He didn't repaint anything.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah, the bumper's still a little. If you get up close to it, you can say, the bumper, the plastic one's a little faded versus the paint. But even the spot where when Summer had launched the roof on it, he buffed that out.
Yeah.
It looks good.
It looks good. I saw that car at either Cars and Coffee or Friday Night Lights earlier this summer.
Yeah.
I did not think it was your car.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is like Eric's. And I'm looking, no, those are the rims. Yeah. That's the interior. I'm like,
he changed out the rims. So they look very similar to chrome, but it's not the same ones. But yeah. The kid, it
looks fantastic.
Chadwick or something like that. I can't think of his name.
Is he over in Galesburg or something?
Yeah. Totally cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm close to getting it running. I hope to have it actually huffing and puffing here before wintertime. But if it doesn't, and I got to wait till spring, that's fine. But I'm in a spot now where it's the closest it's ever been. It's the nicest it's ever looked. And it also doesn't stink anymore. So
you had it on the casters last time I was over there.
Yeah.
I thought you had gotten tires for it, tires and rims.
No, I got some roller tires that hold air.
Okay.
I do need to pop those rims off. I want to have them powder coated.
Okay.
Because they're red. The rims on that car were painted what they call Vincennes red. It's a beautiful red color. And I would do a nice Diamondback radial white wall, like a 3 or 4 inch white wall.
Okay.
Big fat one.
Yeah.
And then I can put those fender skirts back on. The other thing I need to do is brakes, and I've got all the brake parts I need. I just need to install them. So we'll get there. I think next summer, and I know I've said this the last couple seasons, I think I'm in a different spot just mentally and financially and physically and everything. I think that car will be cruising around Central Illinois next summer.
Oh, that's awesome.
I really do.
That's awesome.
So the only other thing, I moved the Volvo into storage.
No!
Yeah, I know.
Last time you did it, it was gone for like 3 years.
Yeah, I didn't drive it much last year. This year I tried to and then blew it up. But it's fixed now, so I'll drive it next year.
So time to lock it down.
Yeah, I don't know. You ever get tired, though, of like the musical cars or like storage and playing games with like moving this to get to this? Don't you hate that?
Oh, that was big news. I didn't even bring that up. I unloaded a car this week. I sold a car.
Oh.
Yeah. Did you do that?
No. But to be fair, it was a nice car. It went to a good home.
I did gain a car before I lost a car, so it's kind of a net zero.
Scrub it. That's fine, though. It was the 2005?
2005 RAV that my son had had at college, and then when Angela got her new Prius, we gave Aiden the option. He said, you can keep your RAV, which you said you lost your manhood because we took your 4Runner away for it.
Aww.
Or you can have your mom's Prius, which every time you come to Central Illinois, you seem to want to borrow it so you can go on a road trip. So he said, I'd be stupid if I didn't take the Prius. I'm like, well, I mean, it's up to you. It doesn't matter to me.
Save money.
Yeah.
It's a good economical road car. And his trip to college is, 3.5, 4 hours?
Yeah. He acts like it's 2.5 hours.
Depends on how he drives.
Dude, I don't know how the hell you get there.
If you go 94 miles an hour the whole way.
Yeah. The Dan Ryan just got picked at the right time and do 89 miles an hour, on the expressway.
Frightening.
Yeah.
But he chose wisely.
I think he did. Well, and Angela's like, but the whole thing was we didn't get rid of the Prius because it's got a bunch of miles on it. It's going to cost us money, which it could. But we sold the RAV, so ultimately we got some money in the bank. So if the Prius takes a crap, then we can spend some money on the Prius. I already did a head gasket on it, so the next thing to go bad would be the hybrid battery or something like that. So.
Yeah, but you know some people. So
I do. I'll probably get a deal.
Yeah. No, it's a good call. Good call.
What else you got on here?
That's
sick of playing musical cars. Yeah, dude. And it's wintertime, so here in Central Illinois, we're frolicking in the Indian summer that's going on right now. I think it's still going to be like 85 this weekend or something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be really nice.
So, but ultimately what's going to happen is it's time to get the garage ready to line up all the cars and the car covers and the battery tenders and push everything off.
Yep.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
I just dusted. I'm like, I know I have 4 battery tenders. I could only find 2 of them. Like, where did I?
Harbor Freight has the little plug-in one that's perfect.
Yeah, it's like $5.
Yeah, it's perfect. So ultimately, if I had 4 or 5 of those, I mean, if the garage burns down, it burns down. But
I just put on the surge protector or something. You're fine.
So going back to the Regan thing, so we hung out and it was a great night. It was a beautiful night.
Oh, we had a lot of fun.
If people could have we could have charged admission for the 3 of us sitting around talking. I really do feel like we have the best conversations.
We do. We have a lot of fun.
But the one thing your garage was as clean as I've ever seen it that night. Is this because the she shed? Did you move so much stuff out? Are you?
No, not yet. I did have everything kind of moved out, and I swept it. And there's nothing better than like taking a leaf blower and just blowing all the junk out of your garage.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that. Yeah,
and you're like, this is nice. And then like
the next stay this way all the time.
If I could keep this, I'd just maintain this. And then the next day.
A windstorm blows a bunch of oak leaves in or something like that. Yeah.
Or you step in the pile you blew, just track it right back in. No, it was we are getting a 10 by 12 shed, like a lofted barn shed thing. We ordered that, and so that'll be like for the mowers and the tractor and all this stuff, right?
Oh, okay.
Which will free up.
So
some
she's
space.
not going to be making birdhouses or planting bulbs in little cups or anything out there.
I don't think so.
Oh,
Although
okay.
we were at Costco Sunday, and they had one of those resin sheds, like a Lifetime or whatever, and they had it on clearance. It was like a small, like a 7 by 4, some goofy size. But
Oh, yeah.
she's like, what do you think? It's like $399. You want to buy it? I was like, no. Where we're gonna put this? We just bought this big shed that's supposed to come like next month.
Yeah.
She's like, no, I could put like all my planters and the cushions for the stuff on the deck and all this. And I'm like, okay.
She's got a point.
She does, but then at what point do you like how many decks and storage units?
I mean, you are in Peoria County. They may charge you for roof space for the water displacement.
Not that. I guess it's temporary, but yeah, I don't know, man. You just get to a point where you're like, if you have to store so much stuff, do you really need all the stuff?
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know.
You're too young to be thinking like that.
No, it's just like, how many cushions do you need for the outdoor seating area?
Don't ask my wife that question. I have 20 chairs sitting on my back deck. Rarely are there more than 4 people sitting here.
But if you needed to have a party,
They're there.
you could.
We got them, by God. Yeah,
that's right.
I get it.
I don't get it either. Anyways.
All right, that's enough of the projects. Man, look at that. 50 minutes into the show, and we have told you all about us.
Wow.
Let's talk about the rest of the world. Are you ready for the news? Oh, where's the news music?
Do we? Is it here? Hold on. I don't think it's on the card.
Damn it.
All right.
Damn it.
New Year's resolution.
Yeah, to work on the
program
card.
that card.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just do that one while we're on video sometime. All right. So in world news, Stellantis U.S. auto sales extend its free fall in the third quarter. Sorry, Stellantis, we're going to pick on you here in this article. Their USA new sales during the third quarter continued a year-long free fall despite CEO Carlos Tavares' actions to fix what he called the arrogant mistakes by the company. The Transatlantic carmaker reported U.S. sales Tuesday of 305,294 from July through September, a 19.8% decline from the third quarter of 2023 and an 11.5% decrease from the prior 3 months of this year. Stellantis was expected to have its worst sales performer be the worst sales performer of the major automakers during the third quarter, and the auto industry forecaster Cox Automotive had projected a sales decline of roughly 21%. That is from CNBC. We'll link that story in the article. Dude, Stellantis, their dealerships are in bad shape. You drive past any of them,
Yeah.
they got inventory for days.
Yeah. They're selling Rams for like $20 grand off MSRP,
Yeah.
and Jeeps plenty.
Yeah.
One of the guys in my car club bought a brand new Gladiator. He's like, "Hey, look! I just got this really good deal,
15 grand off."
Yeah, and I remember when those came out, and people were just like couldn't get them. They were.
Well, you and I were at the auto show with Regan that time, and I think they were fairly new at that time.
Yeah.
And I made the point of us all walking over there and hopping in the back seat because I really do think that is the joke of the whole deal on these. It'd be one thing if they were competing against real compact trucks.
Sure, yeah.
But it's just a Jeep with a bed is all it is. And it really steals even more space from the back seat. It's not practical by any means.
There's a lot of stuff that I like. I think their fit and finish has gotten way better.
Yeah.
Under the whole new post Daimler Chrysler era. I think Fiat Chrysler's done a lot with the different color combinations you can get. I think the trim. I think a new Ram Laramie. Mm-hmm. It's a sexy truck. I think they look really good. Interior is beautiful. Mm-hmm. Not sure about the quality. I'm not sure about the rust prevention that they use. I know maybe that's gotten a little better, and definitely the resale on that is just. It's a pain.
Well, it's rebates. You keep throwing rebates out, you're going to lose resale.
Yeah. So I don't know. I hope they find their way a little bit. Definitely, their production has not matched their demand.
they're laying off, and that's also been I think we talked about that in the last episode that the unions were pretty upset with them for what happened up in northern Illinois, right?
Right.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Daryl. Could they put IFS on a Gladiator?
Probably.
Do you think they could sell an IFS Gladiator?
I don't know. I think the Gladiator is it's similar customer base than a Wrangler, but I think different.
Yeah, it is.
So I don't. And maybe they could get away with it with that, but I don't know.
I don't think they could do it. I think a Wrangler doesn't need IFS, but I think this solid front axle thing that they're doing on the Gladiators, as ambitious as it was, It's a hardcore 4x4 system on those vehicles.
Some of them are actually set up really, really nicely.
But I think it's a waste of. I just don't feel like the small truck, the compact truck customer, every one of them needs that setup. I think they overproduced them.
I do think that they were a little late. I think that well, we've talked before. I think that thing should have come up 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And they were late to the party. But at the same time, there's still part of me that's like looks at them.
Yeah.
And like, I kind of want one.
Yeah.
I still think it's like one of the ultimate cool designs, and it does on paper check all the boxes. I don't know.
The JK, the long four-door Jeeps, there's so many of those drive around too that are basically family trucksters.
Yeah.
And that also kills me. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Jeep, you know, you look at what's the giant SUV they have right now. It's
the Wagoneer.
The Comanche or Wagon, the Grand Wagoneer. It is what it should be as far as its function and its style, but it doesn't like scream, "Hey, I'm a Jeep person." So it kind of looks like a giant SUV.
Yeah.
But these other vehicles definitely look like Jeeps. I think there's like an identity problem right now with Jeep, as far as who they're going for, who their customers are, and do they even know what their customers want?
When we bought our Patriot, yes, by the way, I
Yeah,
bought
he
a Patriot.
did. I think when I first knew you had a Patriot.
Yeah, we actually had two of them.
It was a shameful moment.
You know, I had nothing bad to say about them, except the 2009 we bought new, rusted out in like 5 years. But and they replaced cross members under warranty and whatnot. So I will say they stood.
For you, other people got screwed.
They stood by it. Yeah, I'd probably not anybody else. But I will say, and we had two of them. They were like base model 2-wheel drive stick shifts. They were oddballs, and that's why we've got them, because they were pretty good price. But I had nothing. I had no complaints about them. But you could definitely tell when we bought those. And again, different point in my life, different point in a career and everything else. But I'm like, hey, I just want something that's like the biggest, cheapest thing I can get. And realistically, I saw that as being like the same size as a Cherokee that I grew up, like an XJ Cherokee, which I loved. And I thought, you know what? That's like the front wheel drive version of this. It's cheaper, it's better mileage, and all that. Cool, great. And Jeep said, that's basically a starter Jeep. We want people to get into the Cherokee.
Absolutely.
The Compass and the Patriot, which now I think is the Renegade and whatever their other entry-level one, probably the Cherokee. They're like, we want people to get like familiar with the brand, kind of start through this, and then in a few years, you know what? I like this little all-wheel drive thing. I think I'm going to get a Wrangler, or like move up as they get a family and get to the...
And that's a smart play. Every manufacturer should do that.
It definitely was, but that was in the Daimler Chrysler days. And I don't know if Fiat has that same... I think they were just kind of like, we want the Jeep brand, and we don't care. Like, I think when the Germans ran it, I think it was a little more logical progression. And you can definitely see that. Sarah's got cousins that are now in like the Grand Cherokees with the kids, and the loaded one with all the bells and whistles. And they started out with something a little smaller and cheaper. And she's got other cousins that wound up getting the 4-door Wranglers, and they take their kids, and they take the roof off, and they go jeeping on the weekends, and they have a blast with it. So I don't know. Maybe some of that magic's still there. But definitely the numbers on paper right now are not showing that
not good.
They're not doing
It's
well.
not good.
It's not good. All right, so let's talk about Stellantis in Europe. Let's focus on some European automakers that are most likely to be affected by the dock worker strike at the U.S. East Coast and Gulf Coast ports. They're actually relying heavily on locations such as those, and they're no longer. But a longer walkout could prove debilitating for the entire sector of the Eastern automakers. Because industry officials and analysts have saying dock workers began their first large-scale stoppage in nearly 50 years this week, and that halted the flow of about half of the nation's ocean shipping. So they're saying a lot of the the European car makers. I can't read.
No. This reminds me, like sometimes I'll read like a foreign article from like Australia and be like, who wrote this? I mean, the whole the timbre, of the style just doesn't make sense.
Just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's my font is too small, and I'm old. I need to blow up my font.
All right, sorry. We'll have to,
No, it's fine. But basically, they're saying, hey, the whole dock workers thing, that's going to cause some problems, and I get it because it still seems like a lot of stuff does come from overseas, and European automakers, of course, if you ordered something. let's say you ordered a BMW 3 Series.
Yeah.
And you're waiting for it to come in sometime in the next, 6 weeks. That's going to probably get bumped out.
I don't care about any BMWs. I care more about my Temu order. And so
your $40 microphone or camera stand or whatever.
Exactly, yeah. There's a little bit of video we'll be playing on the Facebook page for the Throwin Wrenches. Hey, the one thing that you don't have to worry about getting from overseas, Daryl?
What's that?
Toilet paper.
Really?
You know what's sold out at Costco right now because of the strike?
Toilet paper?
Toilet paper.
We're doing this again?
Yes, we're doing this again. It was in the news that toilet paper could be a commodity that people need. So there was a rush on it. So today, we're down to like 3 rolls. And so Angela goes, hey, I heard about that strike. We should go get some toilet paper. So she said go to Costco. Cody came back from Costco today for toilet paper. He goes, they're out. They're completely out.
You're kidding me.
Seriously.
Why? What is wrong with people?
I don't know. I don't know why you have to hoard toilet. Even if the strike went for like 6 weeks or 8 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, do you need 700 rolls of toilet paper?
If you do, you might want to see a medical professional.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, fortunately for me, I have a bidet.
So there you go.
There you go. So worst case scenario, I'm just
at home. I mean, what about at work?
I'll just drive home. I'll be all right.
Just got a pressure washer.
I mean, really, I just need to make it once a day, and I live 20 minutes. I'll be all right. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair.
But thanks for asking.
Well, you seem like a regular guy. So.
Oh man, have you heard about Gavin Newsom?
What about him?
I've never in 5 years of this show reported on Gavin Newsom. The California governor vetoes a bill requiring speed alerts on new cars. This is by Tran Nguyen. Is that how you say that name? Have you ever been able to pronounce that name properly?
It's Win.
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 Right. I said Nguyen.
Yeah.
Win.
Well,
anyway.
I was told years ago it was Win. Anyways.
Right. This is from the AP. It's out of Sacramento, California. Governor Gavin Newsom vetoed a bill on Saturday that would require new cars to beep if drivers exceed the speed limit. California would become the first to require such systems for all new cars, trucks, and buses sold in the state starting in 2030. The bill aimed to reduce traffic deaths. It would have mandated that vehicles beep at drivers as they exceed a speed limit by at least 10 miles an hour, 16 kilometers per hour for those in the EU. The European Union passed a similar legislation to encourage drivers to slow down, and California's proposal would have provided exceptions for emergency vehicles, motorcycles, and motorized scooters. In explaining the veto, Newsom said the federal law already dictates the safety standards, and adding a California-specific requirement would create a patchwork of regulations. The National Highway Traffic Safety also is actively evaluating intelligent speed assistance systems, and imposing a higher-level mandate at this time risks disrupting these ongoing federal assessments, the Democratic governor said. This is the first salvo in AI controlling how you drive, Daryl.
Think so?
Yes, absolutely. There's been a couple things that I've seen as far as like the systems in our cars that read. It used to be that they relied on GPS. Somehow there's a coding in GPS tells you what the speed is on a certain road here or there.
Yeah.
But now the systems are smarter. They know that if you're in a construction zone, there must be a certain height that the sign's at. We should really get an AI guy in here or somebody who does this stuff.
Yeah.
It would be very intriguing to have this conversation because now the cars read the traffic signs. The AI read through a very pixelated version of what it's seeing. I've seen the raw footage that comes from these cameras in your windshields in new cars. It grabs the information from the speed limit signs. And then when you're driving, and I don't think your Highlander has this feature where it shows you the speed limit of the road you're on.
It does.
Okay, so you have a camera in the windshield?
No, but I think it's pulled from GPS.
Okay, well, the new cars, so if I'm in a traffic zone with a temporary reduction of 45 or 55 miles an hour, because it's reading live, it now is telling me, hey, by the way, dummy, it's not 75 in here like you thought it was. It's 45.
Interesting.
Yes.
Maybe it's just looking for orange, any kind of orange cone. And be like,
but if the car can recognize these changes, soon enough the car could probably recognize when you should be pressing the accelerator and probably slow you down.
Yeah. Meanwhile, your cruise control set at 78.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's going to be like, nope, throttle this down. Whoa there, turbo.
I'm interested to see what happens in Europe. Can you imagine driving a car that's beeping at you as you're over the speed limit the whole time?
Was it one or two shows ago, Australia had something similar to this, where there was like a speed control in the car, wouldn't let you go above it. Like it would just basically, if you tried to override it, it'd be like, nope, and it would just limit to that kind of max speed.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember that article. In Australia had the testing for supercars.
That too.
We had to have the special licensing.
Yeah, or maybe it was the European Union. It might have been when they were trying to pilot some of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. I actually give them kudos in California for
right.
like of all states that would do that, like California, but,
they'll definitely pass that, right?
Yeah, I guess not. But I think they're coming from a standpoint of these California specific mandates. Like, well, we don't want to do that. Like,
can you imagine being the governor and saying, "Yeah, that we're going to do that in California"? If I had to talk about car culture and like 50s culture. California is like the heart of it, right?
It's the epicenter.
Yeah, I can't imagine California becoming I can imagine being the nanny state, but I can't imagine them tearing down liberties on driving your car like that. I don't know.
No, for environmental stuff, they clearly want to have their own standards, right?
Yeah.
They want to have, I mean, heck, I just got some stuff in the mail the other day for car parts, and, there's all these stickers all over. I'm like, what are all these stickers? It's all the California Proposition 65. This product might contain lead or something. So there's all kinds of California-specific stuff when it comes to the environment.
Yeah.
But maybe they realize that's a lot of time, effort, money, and legal headache.
Yeah.
We just want to do the environmental thing, not all things California.
I'm sure we have some California listeners who are probably like screaming at us like, no, it's terrible here. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. So they didn't do it this time. So I guess give them credit. Next time you see Gavin walking down the street, give him a high five. Say, thanks for not putting beepers on my new car.
Beepers. All right, another story here that we are following this week. General Motors recently entered into a memo of understanding with Hyundai Group for co-development of a wide array of possible projects. That includes technology sharing and purchasing for shared projects. GM President Mark Royce, says that he has high expectations for the agreement, despite the automaker's spotty history with joint ventures.
That's the best.
Spotty history. This is really a shared vision, quote, around what both of our goals are and objectives and open communication. And I think that staying agile and flexible because this industry and market isn't stagnant, according to him, unquote. Whatever, that's a weird quote. But basically, they're going to maybe do some stuff with Hyundai. I'm curious to see. Hyundai Kia, definitely growing, being a kind of a bigger force to be reckoned with.
Do you think Hyundai really needed any advantage from General Motors?
Maybe. I mean,
let's think of their spotty history with helping other manufacturers out.
Hyundai or GM?
GM.
I don't know. It's spotty history. Define spotty history.
Toyota totally tore their heads off. They did a joint plant in California. GM sold them the plant.
Yeah.
And then Toyota continued to make Toyota trucks out there.
Yeah.
And then they end up selling that factory to Tesla.
Right.
But they literally let Toyota, have a plant in the United States with that joint. I don't know. I guess this would be a fun one to research.
The Newmy venture?
Yes. New United Motor Manufacturing.
Yeah. There's a whole, that's a fascinating backstory. But I think at the end of the day, what they still got out of it was they partnered with Toyota through that to make the Chevy Nova in the 80s.
And Novarola.
The Novarola / Corolla, yeah. The interesting thing about that is they later went on to do the whole Geo Prism thing. Their Geo, the Geo was like a joint venture between Toyota and Suzuki and Isuzu, all of which still pay dividends. Isuzu and GM still do stuff with trucks, bigger trucks. They still have a partnership. They came back with Toyota and they did the Pontiac Vibe, which sold very well.
But I think that was also at Newmy.
It might have. Yeah. It might have been. It seemed later, but I do think that I'm trying to think. They also
had out their history with Saab.
Well, they want to buy in Saab, but that was a whole botched thing. Honda, they have joint venture right now with Honda. They make the new Trailblazer or whatever is also Honda makes an EV. It's called
Insight.
No, it's like a little SUV thing.
I don't know.
And the Honda people Honda customers were buying it, and it was like they opened the door and the stickers manufactured by General Motors, with the tire pressures and stuff.
Yeah,
and they're what the heck is this? I bought a Honda, not Prelude. It's pre something. Anyways, they do have an interesting history of joint ventures, but I would argue every automaker, every U.S. automaker that partners with another Asian automaker,
What I would have liked to have
weird.
done, here we go, with lack of research before we do the show. I would have loved to have done a growth chart just to see where Hyundai's been falling over the last couple of years as far as its growth. I'm sure they have not struggled at all.
No,
Between Hyundai and the Genesis line and owning Kia as well. So they've done just fine. Well, in the meantime, General Motors loses market share. So I don't know. I feel like
who's getting what out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like why? Like strange bedfellows?
I just don't understand General Motors sometimes. Like, oh, yeah, let's help these guys out. That's not smart. I mean, it's like a vampire standing at your door and going, yeah, come on in.
I don't know. I've completely lost any interest in General Motors post bankruptcy. I think they've just continued to make really dumb decisions.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe this one isn't so dumb. Maybe there's something they can both learn from one another. But
maybe. I don't know. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck, General Motors.
Yeah.
All right. And our last section here in the news goes into kind of a point-counterpoint. This goes back to Daryl's article about the Longshoremen. So this article from Bob Woods came out a couple years ago, and I was looking to see what it actually came from. Pacific.
Newspaper?
Shame on me. It came from an unknown area. Anyway, CNBC Work. Sorry, my bad. West Coast Port Worker Union is fighting robots. The stakes for the supply chain are high. In 1993, the Dutch port complex in Rotterdam became the first to introduce machine automation and has since become the model for the fully automated terminal, which most have emerged in the 2010s in Asia and Europe. There are nearly 1,000 container ports in the world, yet last year, according to the report by the International Transport Forum, that's a big organization, Daryl, only about 53 were automated, representing 4% of the total global container terminal capacity. The argument about the economic efficiency of automating port work is a key one in the current labor union contracts dispute between the International Longshoremen and the Warehouse Union and the Pacific Maritime Association. I had listened to a Marketplace, and they were talking about this. And this article is from a couple of years ago, but there are ports that are completely automated in the world.
Yeah.
And so, I've had a friend of mine years ago. He goes, they'll never replace that job with robots. Or I'm a truck driver. They'll never put robots in the trucks. And hell, today I read an article about airplanes are going to be completely autonomous, which scares the living bejesus out of me.
Sure.
I need somebody with some skin in the game in front of the plane. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I don't. I know that they're fighting to keep their jobs. As a matter of fact, I think when the Longshoremen, that was like one of the greatest industrial disruptions in like the 1940s and 50s, right? As they moved to forklifts and they weren't having to use draft horses.
Right.
People.
Right. Yeah.
So I think this is just part of the change in the industry. If I had to guess, I'm not slighting the union work. These guys work their ass off. They bust their bodies, and you know what? If you're going to do that kind of work, by the time you're 45 or 50 years old, you probably need a pension. They probably need all the money they can get because you don't have a whole lot left after you do a career of that stuff. But at the same time, I think there's innovation there, and I think you need to introduce it.
It also costs money, and if it's cheaper to just hire, labor than it is to, electrify, technify, and invest in all these, very obscure, like, whatever. What do you call those things at like Menards? That like it's like the little floating platform that
Customers?
goes like three. No,
big savings.
The Menards guy. No, the little platform. You're like,
rebates.
Oh, what the heck? I need a
forklift
piece of equipment on. It's like 2 stories up on the shelf.
Dolly
no problem.
Grip?
The guy comes up on the little platform.
Oh yeah,
it's like a
hoverboard.
Hoverboard. There it is. I don't know that every one of those ports that we're talking about has like a whole fleet of those things.
Probably not. I mean, what they say? Only 4% at the time. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, 4% have what they need to like automate and do techie
but
stuff.
I think that's just a conscious decision. Now you have to wonder too. I mean, okay, so China owns all these ports in Africa. Mm-hmm. China probably get cheap manpower from African laborers, right?
I would think China gets cheap everything. I would just throw that out there.
Yeah, but if you're an industrial country and labor is hard to get, then you have to start looking at robots and stuff like that. If you're in the United States and you're looking for skilled laborers, there's so many people competing for these jobs. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to be hard-pressed to fill your ranks with a bunch of young, bright individuals. at some point you have to start looking at technology to assist.
Yeah.
That's my thought process.
No, I understand.
That's my
that.
point, Daryl. Quit arguing with me. It's point counterpoint.
Oh, I'm not arguing. It's just you. It's funny when you talk like that, though. You're assuming and hoping that the corporations, government, whoever's running these ports are going to do the right thing.
Yeah, right.
And not
of course they will.
Horrible stuff.
Capitalism, it works.
Yeah. Okay. So you're a dreamer. You're a dreamer.
You may call me a dreamer.
It's a humanist. All right.
All right. Supercar news search. Let's throw this one out there. The Mercedes AMG readies a game-changing supercar to replace the SLS EV. It's a retro-inspired supercar. It will fly the flag of the AMG's battery-powered future, Daryl.
In the year 2000.
In the year 2000. Look at this thing. Look at the snout on this thing, Daryl. I'm going to post a picture on the story on this, so check out throwinwrenches.com. But the Mercedes AMG is hatching plans for a spectacular electric vehicle that will launch the performance brand into the EV age. Everybody's telling me that the EV age is like rolling back. It's like rollback savings at Walmart right now.
Yeah. This thing actually looks super aggressive, though.
It does. It's kind of cool looking. The new performance Halo model. You know what a Halo model is, Daryl?
I do.
All right. A Halo model, for those who don't know, is a car that most people can't attain, but it brings you into the dealership, and then you end up driving out in a C-Class car.
Right.
C-Class Benz, or an E-Class maybe. What's the lowest?
I don't know what this
C-Class used to be the lowest.
Yeah.
Maybe they got a D-Class now.
CDE. I honestly don't even know anymore.
Anyway, the Performance Halo model was previewed by last year's retro-inspired Vision 111 concept, and it's been described as a brand-defining successor to the SLS electric drive. It's a 730 bhp. What's that? Brake horsepower?
Brake horsepower.
Yeah. Quad motor EV. Kind of like a Rivian. It was launched. That was the one that was launched in 2013. It cost £330,000. Euros. I'm not sure what that is. But while that car was limited to 9 examples, that's thin sales. The new AMG supercar is planned for significant higher production numbers when it arrives later this decade, making its flagship less of an exclusive offering to its central AMG evolving electrification strategy. It's already launched a powered-up version of the EQE SUV, and the EQS and the EQS SUV with specific motors and battery technologies separate from those of their standard siblings. This car's cool. You have to check it out. And you know what?
It does look cool.
Yeah. It'll be cementing AMG's performance credentials as it switches to from high-output combustion engines to electric power. Autocar understands it's likely to outpace the 1,049 brake horsepower AMG 1, whose Formula One-derived V6 electric hybrid setup is set to go from 0 to 62 in 2.9 seconds. And it was 0 to 186 miles an hour in 15.6 seconds.
Are you kidding me?
0 to 186. I don't think we have that number at Toyota where I work.
No, that's not a stat that you rattle off all the time. You imagine that?
No.
Almost 200 miles an hour in 15 seconds.
No.
That's insane. And 0 to 60 in 3 seconds is insane. I couldn't imagine that. I'd probably look funny. You know what we should do? Remember that at Halloween, and we're approaching Halloween time. It's spooky season here in the Midwest. Do you remember the whole picture of the Tower of Terror thing, where they would like take pictures of people when they like
their face is like all
contorted?
Yeah.
That's what your face would look like.
It's all peeled back. It's like your lips or your jowls are flapping.
Yeah. They should have that as like an app in the car, just like take a horrible picture, like a selfie of you while you're...
I think that from here to Chicago is like 150 miles. So that means I could get to Chicago in less than an hour. 186 miles an hour.
Just keep running over stuff.
My God, man.
Great.
That's crazy.
Awesome car.
Yeah, so check it out.
Pre-order it?
Yeah, I'm down. I mean, it is funny to think that their last supercar sold 9.
It's one of 9.
Yeah. So that means there's like 9 Saudi sheiks. And who else has one, really?
I mean, it's going to be the super, super, super rich, or it may be like, I don't know, some sort of Formula One driver that might have one in their collection, just as a Halo car, right?
Yeah.
But my big beef with that is, okay, this thing's on the road, you hit a pothole, maybe you hit the air dam on, you go into Red Robin in it to get your $10 burger, and you scrape the air dam off one of the parking curbs.
Yeah.
What do you do? Oh, I'm sorry, sir. There's There's only 9 of them, and
Yeah.
you just ruined the one.
First off, you shouldn't be at the drive-through.
I guess.
If you're driving the AMG EV, so
I don't know,
you
man.
should be a Red Robin at least.
I think a fancier place, perhaps.
Culver's, maybe.
Maybe Culver's. Go to Culver's. Get a Butterburger.
I mean, at 186 miles an hour, I could go drive to White Castle in 30 minutes from here.
I did watch a video blog of a guy who came over from the UK and was like, you know what? I'm going to go to White Castle because of the Harold and Kumar movie.
Yeah.
And he went there and he got disgusted. And he's like,
What?
I've never been so disappointed.
What?
He hated White Castle. And I'm like, you know what?
Oh, I need to see this.
I'll send it to you.
This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Hashtag Brandy. I'll
Mashtag Brandy?
or Bandy. I don't know. I'll send it to you. The guy's a jerk. He
You
doesn't
know
know what
what?
he's talking about.
And that guy probably can't find a quality used car either.
He
probably
probably
can't even. You can't. Some may call me a dreamer, Daryl,
Yeah.
but this guy definitely can't dream about a quality used car. You
Not
know,
like you can.
You know what I was doing this week?
What were you dreaming about?
I was scheming of my vacation in Italy here in another month. I remember Italy. The carbonara.
Roma.
But I also remember that Fiat Panda outside the Coliseum, and I got really weird. I'm like, you know what would be totally cool right now? To find an Italian car that I don't want to work on. So I did a search on it. Guess what I found, Daryl?
You found one?
I found a Fiat Panda sitting in Wyoming, Michigan. Let me tell you all about it.
Holy cow. Have we reached our segment, Cars of the Week?
Yeah, that's Cars of the Week, Daryl. Sorry.
Great intro. Great intro.
It was a terrible intro. I didn't do it right. I didn't time it right.
No, it's fine. So you found a Fiat Panda stateside.
Stateside, yeah.
Where in Michigan?
I don't know where Wyoming, Michigan is, but it's Michigan. Let me tell you, folks. I just drove to the UP. It can't be any further away than Copper Harbor. So,
Well, there you go.
yeah. Anyway, the one I saw by the Coliseum was a nice powder blue. And as I walked up and I took a picture of it, and I said, "That's a nice Panda." And my wife goes, "What?" And this other dude in a cool leather jacket goes, "Yeah, it's a nice Panda." I had
You got validation?
I had validation from a stranger in Rome that I was taking pictures of a quality little Panda. And it wasn't too terrible different than this 1996 example that's found in Michigan. The one I saw, it was that square body. It had the nice powder blue color to it. This one is a nice sand color with black plastic trim. It's even got a little sand color in the rims with the silver caps on it. Look at that roof rack. You know, the new RAV4 Sport has a roof rack just like that. This car screams retro. It's only been driven 65,000 miles. It's got a manual transmission because that's proper in this car. It's officially called beige. It's got a clean title. Here's a description from the seller on Facebook Marketplace. It's a 1996 Panda 4x4. It's imported from Japan over a year ago. It has all the original documents as well as a clean Michigan title. Engine has recently been rebuilt and has a ton of life left. Not sure what a ton is on an Italian car, but it's probably at least a year or two, right? A 4x4 works great without issue. There's no asterisk, so I guess I'll believe him. It is a front-wheel drive, and the 4x4 is with the 4x4 disengage. Has a 1.1-liter Fiat Fire engine, and it gets great mileage with no problem hitting highway speeds. No problem hitting highway speeds.
You had to put that in the ad.
Yes, it tells you that don't get too excited when you're accelerating. It's a 1.1-liter. What the hell are you expecting anyway? It has a new engine and tranny oil, antifreeze, tires, water pump, timing belt, 4x4 bushings, and thermostat. Has small rust spots on the rockers and seats. Have a slight blemish. I tell you what, small rust spots on rockers, that should be the giant warning sign.
That's the red flag right there?
For me, that's the warning. Yeah.
Probably.
The seats, I can worry about the blemishes, but rocker panels with rust, forget about it. Also, it has cold working AC and the 5-speed manual transmission. It's $15,000 or best offer. But I tell you what, Daryl, this is one of the coolest cars I've seen in the last couple of days online. I dig it. I think it's cool. I think whoever bought this had a very similar vision, and he got his little dream car, and then for some reason decided it just wasn't his dream car anymore.
I'll tell you what, I think this thing is really cool. I didn't realize they only have one windshield wiper.
Oh, I just noticed that. Yeah, look at that.
It looks like if a child drew a car. Everyone always makes fun of the Cybertruck and be like, oh, it looks like what I drew when I was in 5th grade or whatever. Like, this is what you drew. You know, little hatchback, real squared off, stubby, but it's 4x4. It looks like it could actually do some damage on a winter road, like you could actually get around town.
Yeah.
It might be fun on a light trail, right? I mean, You don't have a lot of overhang.
Oh, what fun would this be to take up to Copper Harbor and like take on the off roads and But then if it broke down, it'd be kind of screwed. That's my own.
What are you working on? Well, it's an Italian import from Japan.
Yeah.
It's got 65,000 miles, but the motor's been rebuilt by some guy who says he knew how to do it.
Yeah. Don't mind that duct tape over there. You know, the electrical windings all caught up. I mean, this is kind of like if you saw a Yugo and you kind of wish a Yugo was built by Subaru.
Yeah.
This is the dream car between the two, but then that's like the nightmare.
It's a Yugo had a kid with a Subaru Justy.
Yeah.
And then went to Italy.
Yeah.
That's the worst. That's the worst of all possible combinations, isn't it?
It might possibly be, but it's totally cool. It's a little 2-door, little hatchback. I dig it. This is.
What if it was $5,000?
I tell you what. Here's the deal. If I lived in Rome, now let's just say, Daryl. Let's just say I got my international passport, became a resident in Italy.
Yeah,
because I got family there, so I have a connection. I can make this happen. And I needed a car to park in Beffi, in the Abruzzo. At the family house.
At your villa?
Yes. This might be the best car for the mountains.
Honestly, I think it would be.
Yeah.
And the locals would actually give you respect because they're like, you're not flashy.
Mamma mia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're keeping an old piece of Italian history running.
Yeah.
I think this is cool. $15,000?
It's too much.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is, I couldn't even drive that home without being scared something's going to light on fire. And the thing is, even if I got it home, I'd be afraid to drive it just because nobody's going to want to work on this. Nobody in Peoria area is going to work on this.
No, absolutely right.
Yeah.
I looked up Wyoming, Michigan, by the way. It's just outside. It's south of Grand Rapids, so you have a head start home.
Oh, that's not bad.
No.
That's pretty close.
So if you cross your fingers and clench your cheeks, I think you would actually get this thing home.
I would love to hear the story how this guy got this car.
Yeah.
Did he do car from Japan and then got it home, did everything, drove it around a couple times, and then something weird happened or something like that?
Motor recently rebuilt. It's because the thing grenaded. Hey, look at it. He went to Cars and Coffee and went to Subway right afterwards to get lunch, and the thing blew up.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, dude. If this thing was under 10 and I was you, I'd be tempted.
Nah. I honestly, though, like I said, if I ever, my goal is to go to Italy the next 5 straight years.
Yeah.
It would be, if I could figure out a way to have one to use.
Yeah, just tuck it away.
You know what? Even if I get it for a rental car, that might be my goal. Because,
Do they do like a Turo over there with plastic?
They do. They do. So it'd be awesome that next time I go there. I want to go next summer, and I want to go to the mountains and go to like the glaciers and stuff.
You should.
I think this would be the car.
Pick it up.
Yeah. I'll get Stig and I out there. Who's going with me? Don? Come on, Don. Come fly to Italy with me.
I think a lot of folks would enjoy that for sure. Good pick, man.
All
Good
right.
pick.
Thank you. It's a little, it's not the ZZ Top car I chose last week, but it'll do.
Yeah, in a pinch.
All right. So we started the show off and we said Rambler versus Panda, and so we gave away kind of what we had here for the cars of the week. But this is not your style, Daryl Scott.
No, it's weird. It popped up on I don't know, Facebook Marketplace or one of the cars groups I was in or something the other night, and I'm like, I just clicked the link and I spent a lot of time looking at it for no reason. This is my pick of the week. Is a 1963 Rambler American station wagon. It's a beautiful fire engine red. In fact, it actually looks like it could be like a fire chief's car for a small department. Big chrome roof rack on the top, a little bit of chrome trim. The Rambler Americans, of course, fairly cheap, fairly economical transportation back in the day. If you needed a small car for a young family, or you were, just something to drive dad, drop him off at the train station, and then mom could go to the grocery store and do mom stuff, you'd probably have one of these. Before Dick Teague started doing all the cool styling for the AMC cars of the 60s, like the AMX and the Javelin and all that stuff, George Romney at the helm of American Motors, a lot of just homely, kind of boring cars.
The front end of this car is weird.
Yeah, they're pretty... They're pretty gross. But this thing is in such decent shape, and the interior, I don't think I put pictures of the interior. Interior is amazing. Really nice, kind of a white and black checkered with a red outside. But here's the thing. What got me with this thing, here's the ad. Quote, who needs a sweet, solid 63 AMC Rambler custom wagon project as a Ford straight? What? It will need a motor I'm
Oh.
Period. Told. Period. Automatic transmission, Ohio title. If you know someone looking for a project, bad capitalization, wagon, please feel free to share my ad. So, okay.
I know what I got.
Asking price for this car that has a Ford, what appears to be either a Ford 200 inline six.
It's the smallest inline engine I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a dinky little one. I think this is probably out of like a late 60s, early 70s Mustang or like a something. But it fits in the engine bay quite nicely. The reason that is probably in there, and by the way, it's not hooked up, so it's a project. It doesn't run.
Okay, is that what's going on? Is that why it looks like there's so much space to work with there?
Yeah, the carb's missing.
I mean, you see the batteries missing there.
Looks like a lot of the stuff is there. There's dual reservoir master cylinders. So somebody's done some work. I think they probably took it, 50% of the way and then said, screw this. Or they had another project and just bailed. $10,000 is the asking price for this one. And you might think that's crazy, and it kind of is. But when's the last time you've seen one of these? I think it's fairly solid. The paint looks really good. The interior's clean. I think this is a motor and trans away from, or maybe just hooking up and doing the finish work here to having a running, driving car. And the reason they put a Ford motor in here is probably because it's easier to find parts and work on than the 194 inline six that this originally came with, which was a dog, and actually hailed all the way back to the Nash days before American Motors. So this thing, I think, has potential. If it were me, I would put like a 300 inline six out of an old Ford truck, something where it's got a little more oomph to it, but you're not having to re-engineer everything. And I think that there's definitely some work that would be involved, but I think you'd have a really cool cruise night car or cars and coffee car. $10,000 is a little steep, but you know what? I'm rich. I'll just buy it. So I'll just do that. That's my pick.
I mean, let's be honest, Daryl.
Yeah,
I think you probably tuned into this car because of the Suburban two-door next to it.
Flames
on the side.
I did notice the cars in the background. You ever do that too, where you see like a marketplace ad?
Oh, what's going on here?
Yeah, you start zooming in.
Well, look at this guy's facility. It looks like an old body shop. Looks like an old dealership, and he's got just a bunch of project stuff sitting around in there. I'm like, oh yeah, this guy. What
do you see on the back shelf too?
What I want to know, those subwoofers?
There's Sherwin Vegas subwoofers. Yeah, I mean, like you and I are cluing into the same stuff.
What's the white? Is that a T-Bird or something sitting there? The exhaust tip sticking out of the body.
I'll be honest with you. I think that is a 53 or 4 Corvette.
Really?
Yes, I think so. And it would jive with the other stuff in there is Chevy, so I don't know what this oddball is doing in there. But, yeah, it looks like a 53 or 4 Corvette. If that's the case, then dude's got some money.
Yeah. This car is kind of cool. It's kind of dorky in the way the Bork is dorky.
Yes.
But I'm going to tell you this. That driver's front seat, that bench seat, I can feel the lack of support in the springs just by looking at it.
You clicked in the listing? You seeing it?
Yes, I'm looking at the listing right now. So I'm thinking about you and Sarah climbing into this thing. You're holding on to that pencil-thin steering wheel, and Sarah's like rolling around on the other side because there's nothing to hold on to. You got to hold on to the door handle,
right?
Or she got to hold on to you, but she doesn't want to touch you. No. So she's holding on the door handle while you're driving on a turn and stuff like that.
That's exactly what happened. It does look like. Do you remember like in grade school on the school bus?
Yeah.
Like those seats?
Yeah.
It's like that. They're just gross Naugahyde.
Is this split front? What am I looking at on the front seats? If I look at the back seat, there's like and it shows.
Yes. Ooh, that's weird. Hold on. It looks like a front seat came out of a coupe because they actually do fold down. Why do they fold down? Oh, they might still fold down into a bed.
Oh, okay.
That was Nash and American Motors thing for many years.
So it was like a camper type thing? Okay.
Yeah, because most of the people that bought those, they didn't have money to stay in a motel, because they were buying cheap stuff.
I'd be getting tinted glass at least, or the curtain option.
They did have curtains.
I'm sure they did.
There's a guy who used to cruise around with an old Nash that had little side screens that would come, like bug screens.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's that for? It's like, oh, it's when you go camping.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it looks like a little fire truck. It looks like something I would have saw in Mayberry RFD. Maybe Andy, what's his name? Oh, the old Matlock would have shown up, if he want to go to the fishing hole with Richie Cunningham. Hop in the back of the Nash Rambler. Let's go on up to the lake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool to have like a little shop logo on the door or something. I think it could be cool. It's just, I don't know.
The other thing that bothers me is I look at the custom logo on the back and I see the brush marks that are near it. Either somebody scratched at it with a flathead screwdriver, or it's been sanded with 100 grit sandpaper. So.
40 grits. Who did the body work? That's my kid.
Handy Andy toolkit from my kid. Anyway.
Yeah, there's a little bit of work that...
Anyway, it's okay. My Panda's not the prettiest thing, I'll tell you that. Although, we both chose very nice roof racks this week, I think.
Yeah, we
both can put a lot of gear on the roof.
That same wavelength.
Kayaks, tents. I mean, we got it all going on. Probably extra parts for yours. I mean...
Probably.
Yeah, mine, I'd probably need an Italian mechanic who could sit up there.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. If it came... I'll tell you what. I'll give the guy full asking $15,000 if it came with a mechanic.
An Italian mechanic?
Yeah, I think that's a fair trade.
Or just even like 10 years, or maybe 3 years of Italian mechanic support. I think that'd be good, right?
Sure.
Anyway. All right, so you know what? This has been a dandy little episode. We actually chose a little light on the news articles this week, and I said, you know what we'll do, Daryl? We'll fill this with fluff. We'll fluff it up.
Did we do that?
I don't know. Do we have a fluffer?
No.
Okay. Are we self-fluffing?
I think we fluff ourselves pretty good.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to be thinking about marshmallow fluff on the way home because now I want a marshmallow fluffernutter sandwich.
There you go. No, it was fun. I'm glad you came over, and we definitely need to pop out a few more. This is episode 93. We acted like 100 was coming right up. At the rate we're going,
yeah, it might be
next 2026.
Right. Fiscal 26, we'll make 100 episodes.
Exactly. So we need to spit out a few more episodes. But
we'll do.
Yeah, thanks again, everybody, for supporting the show, especially those Patreon folks. Thanks for your patience and having a ton of fun. So if there's anything you want to hear, if there's anything you want to talk about, you could always send us an email, because I am so sick of these spammers going, hey, Eric and Daryl, I've been listening to your show so much because a friend recommended it. By the way, if you need help with SEO, my name is Jesse.
Right.
Just stop.
I love insert name of podcast. Your content is excellent. I love it when you talk about automobiles.
Yeah, so we know you're out there. The numbers are out there. So definitely send us an email. We'll read it on the show. Put some comments on maybe some of the previous episodes on Spotify. If you want to add comments there, we'll read those on the show. I look forward to hearing back from y'all.
You betcha. info@throwinwrenches.com. We're also on Facebook, and you can find Eric and I on the social platforms elsewhere.
Yes, definitely Daryl on TikTok. And if you're interested in local politics and carbon capture, follow my TikTok. It's a blast.
He's got bumper stickers.
All right, thanks again, everybody. See you later.
See ya.